Okay, so today I'm just going to be going over what we have here. It's a Hobo microstation, and the instructions maybe are a bit intimidating, but it is actually rather simple and a pretty powerful tool to use. So I'll just go over quickly what's in the microstation, then I'll have a section on connecting it to your computer, and then lastly starting the logging, stopping it, and how to export your data to Excel. Like I said, it's all rather simple, but it's also intimidating if you know nothing about it. So to start with, this is the Hobo microstation. I'm just going to point out a couple things within it, how to set it up, and it shouldn't take too long. So here it is. We have the batteries. Obviously you're going to want batteries. When you hook it up to your computer, it'll tell you the battery life, so there's nothing on here to let you know except these status lights up here. You can't see it too well, but well, now you can, but these all mean something. So they're all pretty self-explanatory, and really the only time they're important is if the microstation isn't working. So if it's all going well, maybe only one or two will be on, and it'll let you know when memory and battery are low, so that's nice. And the next part that we're going to look at is probably these ports right here. These are the sensor ports where you hook up your various sensors. Currently we only have a pyranometer, but all the sensors, they work basically the same way. And then down here, well, you can see it here, but also this is where you hook up the cord from the logger to your PC to collect your data or launch the logger. And then lastly, really the only important thing in here is probably this button right here. And this button's only relevant if when you're launching the logger, you can have an option to only start logging data when you press the button. So the next thing, I think that's pretty much all about what's in the microstation. Next thing I want to show is how to set it up. And if you're using it outside, you want to use this thing right here to protect against moisture. But if you're inside, there's no need, so you can just remove it. You can see. And then also, if you are collecting data outside, while it's not hooked up to your PC, you do want to insert this. So again, no moisture can get in. And if you're logging outside, this is just another outside only thing. We have the case here and the screws. They're all removable. It's really easy to set up. You just screw it in, unscrew it. So to interface it with our computers, we have a serial port to USB cord. So the normal cord is just this is the input to the logger, and this inputs to your computer. If you're using a laptop, you probably don't have a serial port, so this is probably the option for you, is this key span serial to USB. As you can see, it ends USB. And it's real simple. You just plug it in the data logger, plug it into your PC. You do have to have a couple things installed driver-wise, but I'll go over that when I get to installing the software. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go over is installing one of our probes. Like I said, currently we only have the pyranometer, which you can see here. And just one quick note about it is it needs to be standing vertically, which is a bit annoying because the cord comes from the bottom, so you have to find some way to set it up vertically. I'm sure you are all capable of doing such a thing. And then to install the probe, and this is for outside only, like I said, you don't really need, if it's just inside, you can just run it through and plug it in. But if you are working outside, we have this small apparatus. You put the dome nut on first, and then we have this to protect the cords from moisture. Again, moisture really kills these things. And this thing has little cuts throughout it, so you can insert the cord. And I'm going to do that now. It's rather annoying, but it's better than ruining a probe or the microstation itself. Okay, so when that's done, there is one more thing to do with this, is you want to hook up these little O-rings and fill the other slots. like so. And then lastly we have the stuffing gland is what it's called, and you fit it over, stuff this in. I guess that's why it's called the stuffing gland. And then lastly you screw on the dome nut like so. So this is what it should look like at the end. You should be able to pull the cord through, insert it into your microstation, plug it into whatever port. The ports don't matter. It depends when they're listed on the HoboWare software. They list by serial number in order, so it really doesn't matter what port you put them in. If you want them in a certain order, you have to pay attention to the serial numbers. And then you just plug it in, screw it in, and there you go. This will work outside perfectly well. We have it completely moisture proof, or just about moisture proof. And like I said, I already said this, but I'm going to stress it again, is when you do, if you do insert this outside, make sure you do screw in this cap right here, and then you're pretty much good to go to use it. Now we're going to interface it with our laptops. It's rather simple. You've done things like this a million times. We're going to take our keyspan serial to USB port, plug it in to a USB port, and plug the other end into our data logger. And when you do this, your laptop, depending on what you have, I'm not sure about how the Macs work, but when I plug this into my Windows laptop, it immediately searched the internet for the appropriate driver. So let that happen, let it download, install. It worked perfectly fine for me. And now I think I'm going to switch to my own screen, and I'll show you the installation process for the other drivers that we need to get this all to work. So we have gone over what's in the microstation. Now I have to do a lot of work here to figure out how to get to work. So what I should be sharing on my screen right now is the Hobo software that we use. You can find these instructions online in the Word documents, or you can just look right here. It's this address, just type it in. This is real simple. Just choose whichever one, or your Windows or your Mac, click it, download it. The next thing is the keyspan high-speed USB serial adapter I was talking about. So once you plug it in, it should download a driver, but that's not all that is necessary to get this to work. So let that download. You're going to need both. And then they have a large list of firmware and software right here. And it's very important to choose the one for your operating system. If you don't know what your operating system is, check. It's fairly simple. You just go to, I believe it's computer. Oh, this is for Windows anyway. And then properties, Windows 7. Oops. So I downloaded this one, and then when you install it, you have a new program, Keyspan Serial Assistant. Open this up, and once you have both drivers downloaded and you have it plugged in, it will let you know, and it'll tell you what port it is. And it's important then to check port mapping, see which one it's given it, because that's going to be important in HoboWare. So once we have that done, what we'll do is go to the HoboWare software. Okay, so now we have HoboWare launched, and this is where we want to set up everything before we launch it. And first thing to do here, go to File, go to Preferences, go to Communications here, go to Serial Ports and Device Types. For device types, USB and serial devices, check this one. For the serial ports, make sure the one that it's mapped to is listed here, and it is for me. So click OK. And then we just launch device. It's going to go through this. There it is. So it showed up on my computer. I'm going to click OK. So for the name, just name whatever you want. I'm going to name it Pyranometer Test. It's not important right now. You can add user notes. This is merely a test, is apparently the note I have. And then for the sensors, we can do a couple things. It's going to list all the ones we have. And again, we can name each sensor. So once again, I'm going to name my sensor test. And you can actually plug them in while it's plugged in right here. And if you hit refresh, the new probe you plugged in will show up. And then for filters, this is just a neat thing you can do is, so you select the sensor right here. I selected my pyranometer one. Show the maximum solar radiation, minimum, or average in each one-day interval. So this way you can find the maximum each day, the minimum each day, or just the average throughout the day, or a time period. They have days, hours, minutes, seconds. It's really up to you. And then you just, I'm going to delete all these just to show you, or delete this one. Delete it. And just create a new series, and now it showed up down here. And now the logger will log these each day. So logging interval, it's really up to you. Do you want to do it every 30 seconds, every minute? I'm going to do it for every 10 seconds because I'm going to run a very short test. Sampling interval, you can enable this. This basically samples every second, but then it only logs every 10 with the average of the last 10, if you get what I mean. Start logging. We have a couple options now. You can start logging now, at an interval, on date time, push buttons. If it's a date time, it's really up to you what you're doing with this. If you're going outside, you probably want to do push button. Stop logging when memory fills, or never. Wrap when full. When memory fills, it basically just stops logging, but stop logging never means when it runs out of memory, it just overwrites the oldest memory. So this is, again, up to you. So button start. It's going to configure it all and launch it. It is now at this point you can unplug the logger and press the button. Okay, so the logger's been launched now. It's simple. It's unplugging it, screwing in your cap, and then because I personally this time I did the push to start, push the button, so it should be running now. I'm going to let it run for about 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to get the data from the logger to your PC to Excel. Okay, so we've been logging for about 5 minutes now. It's real simple. Plug it right back in. Nothing confusing about that. Now I'm going to switch to my screen again and we'll go over pulling the data into Excel. Okay, so now we're back in HoboWare. It's real simple to bring the data in. All you do is click right here or go to device and read out. Click either one of them, it doesn't matter. It's going to go through the ports, check if anything's plugged in again, and it is. Click OK. And it comes up with this. I usually just click stop logging because if you're logging outside and you bring it in, you probably don't want to be logging anymore anyway. So we save it as a DTF file, and that's basically just for the Hobo's software. Choose what series you want to show. I've selected all of them. Click plot. Plot really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But at this point, what we're going to do is we want to export to Excel where it's easier to make graphs and it's usually nicer to see. And as you can see, we have the minimum, the average, and the max all right here. So to do this, again, we're going to go to Preferences. Go to General, Export Settings, where I'm at right here. It's the top one. Open it up. So normally, it's on this option, Export File Type, Text, or CSV. We want Excel. And really the only other thing I would recommend is to separate date and time into 2 columns. This is always really nice, I think. I prefer it this way. It's up to you. All kinds of options depending on how you want to do it. But that's the basics. You really just need to click that one and the Excel file. Click OK. File, export table data. We're going to want all of it. Pyrometer XLS. It saves it in your Hobo file, or your folder. So make sure you know where the folder is if you're wanting to open this in Excel. Okay, so we brought all the data in here. and we just need to do a couple things to format it so we can make a graph. Select all the times, format these cells. It's in general. We want it in a time. It shouldn't change anything. And then if we look here, we have some sort of error. The number in this cell is formatted as text or an apostrophe. We're going to want to change that. So select all of them. Go to the error, convert to number. And now, if we insert a graph here, it should look correct. So we're going to select the data, edit, get rid of the title, X values, we want the time, Y values, we want the pyranometer readings. Click OK, click OK, there we have it. And that's about all you need to know to get from starting the logger to getting into Excel.